Not a YouTuber, just like making videos. But this is a video reply to the one called LA's video. LA's video on people are mad at Tommy, but ignore the problems in the black community. You know, and you know, thing is with LA, he is not a credible source. You know, talking about certain issues. You know what I'm saying? In his video, he talks about unity. You know, the black people need to unite, and he talks about these people that he adore. That, you know what I'm saying, these YouTube elitists are elitists in the black YouTube corner because, you know, they can't compare it to angry video game nerds and so forth. But, you know, people like Painless Risen, David Carl, and feel that they have a message and so forth, and people who attack them don't have a message, don't talk about things that goes on in the black community and so forth. Now, I'll tell you this right now. You know, I'm like, it's funny hearing, you know, LA talk, you know, and how he's gaining sympathy or playing the victim and so forth, when we know his repertoire. And I tell you, as far as this corner of YouTube, and I'm gonna have to quote Louis Farrakhan, it is spiritually bankrupt. I don't even care too much about this corner anymore or what people think about me, because I'm just seeing people just, you know, just being so blindsided. You know, it's like, you know, they let certain people get away with their fluckery if they like them. Now, the one called LA, he has constantly made sneers at me. And for him to talk about black unity and this and that, I'm like, he recently came out with a video entitled Pinheads vs. D-Lu 1000. You can check his channel. The video is only 3 days old, where he's trying to get some conflict between me and D-Lu 1000. Dude made a video towards me and, you know, clowning me, and LA was giving him props and all this other stuff and said he's his inspiration and so forth. I seen the video. D-Lo did not break down any of my points or anything, or made any sort of rebuttals to anything I said. I even gave D-Lo props for that video. It was kind of funny or whatever. But you see how LA literally tried to create some sort of conflict there. You know, trying to bring people to this video of this dude somehow making a mockery of me and my YouTube channel and so forth. So yeah, there's no fucking way I'm taking LA seriously, you know. But I'm gonna eviscerate his argument. Now, LA have constantly made jabs against me, saying I'm not that smart, saying I use big words and so forth, saying that I act too white, you know. And this is the guy you're gonna clamor around. You know, a guy who insults a black man who's on a straight and narrow. A man in LA talked about how he's a pimp and you get females to give him money, and he constantly talked about, you know, dudes like me are just simps and so forth. You know, he even said that it's simps that are the problem of the black community. No, the problem with the so-called black community is drugs and guns, but corrupt politics. You know what I'm saying? Real deep issues. You know, that we know that are there, that are obvious, but somehow people are just using deflection and trying to figure out, oh, it's the simps that are a problem with the black community. Oh, it's hair weave that's the problem with the black community. No, a lot of things that are a problem in the so-called black community are things that are illegal, that people shouldn't be doing, that are getting people locked up, that are causing complete social decay. Yeah, and of course, yeah, crooked politics. But okay, here we go. LA, you know, as I said, if you like Painless Risen and David Carl and think these guys are the truth, then you have to like Fox News. You have to like Glenn Beck. You have to like Sean Hannity and O'Reilly. You know, because they graft a lot of their statements directly from them. I'm like, you have to pretty much be a conservative, Republican, or a libertarian. You know, because both of these guys have said are pretty much against Obama and so forth, and so that's like I said. So if you don't like Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly, and you have your scuffs against them, and if you like the stuff Painless and David Carl have stated, yeah, you're a big fucking hypocrite right there. You know, and also a lot of things that they said, specifically Painless Risen, is not factually accurate. And I'll point out the things that he's said, and I've made rebuttals. And anybody who have a problem with my statements or whatever, you can do your own research, and you know what you'll find? You'll find out that I'm right. You find out the arguments I set forth are tighter than the airlock on the space shuttle. You know, as I've stated before, I'm a macrocosmic thinker. You know, a lot of people probably don't know what that word means. And most people are looking at things from a microscopic, on a microcosmic level, and so forth. Now, the one called LA, when he talked about Tommy's mantra and how Tommy, like, he didn't know women were this violent and so forth until he saw the videos about Tommy and women weren't doing this. I'm like, ooh. Now, first of all, there's this thing that's called a woman's prison. Yeah, where they lock women up for doing things bad. So hence, like, there's even movies about it. What's that movie called? Jail Heat or whatever. But with that freaking what that model that was in Conan the Barbarian. No, not Conan the Barbarian, but Red Soldier or whatever. The female used to date Flavor Flav. Yeah, her name skips my memory right now. But yeah, there's women's prison. Now, I would say probably a lot of females locked up are probably locked up because of non-violent crimes and prostitution. The same way a lot of black men are locked up. They're locked up because of non-violent crimes. Smoking marijuana, driving with a suspended license, child support. You know, some of these criminals won't even lift a finger to hurt a damn flea, but they're being locked up by a system. And this is something that Painless Risen and Likes don't speak upon. Painless says something like blacks are just violent. And I made a video saying, yeah, but the majority of blacks that are locked up are locked up because of non-violent offenses. Matter of fact, I just saw something where you have black men that are locked up with no chance of parole for non-violent offenses. One guy had a trace of cocaine in his apartment, in his pocket. The system is completely unfair, and David Carl and Painless refuse to recognize how lopsided the system is. About how these private institutions or whatever are making private prisons are making money off our decay. You know, off our downfall and so forth. But still, I understand what LA's trying to do. He's trying to want to jump on the winning team, the bigger, you know what I'm saying, the better men. But his own lifestyle and the things he does even contradicts the things that they say. You don't know, when David Carl, Painless Risen, even Tommy Sotomayor, when they rag on the black community, they're not talking about me. So technically, I should be fans of theirs, because as I've said before, I didn't grow up in the black community. I grew up in a strict sort of military household. You know, very strict. I couldn't wait to get away from my dad. To the day, my dad, I would say, is still very tight. I'm like, my dad doesn't even want me to drink in his house. He'll drink a beer, but if I drink a beer, even at my age, at 36 years old, he says, boy, don't you ever drink a beer around me and your mama. Show us respect. While he's sitting up there golfing beers. I'm like, what a hypocrisy there, but that's how my dad is. He lives in a $500,000 home. He still runs it like it's freaking boot camp or whatever. I can't even go to my parents' house and stretch my feet on the couch. He'll say, boy, get your feet off the couch. Show us respect and so forth. But all I'm trying to say is I'm not who David Carl and them talk about. I worked in paramilitary environments. You know, when I was in high school, I did ROCT. I worked inside of a prison. You know what I'm saying? I paid my taxes. Never been in trouble. Never been locked up. Don't have a bunch of baby mothers running around and so forth. Never lived off the system. Never got a fucking government handout. You know, so technically I should be more of a fan of them than the one called LA. But LA wants to seem like he's smart and he's jumping on his side. And LA seems fucking foolish. Now, going into this black women thing, about he said black females are so, Tommy, you know what I'm saying, dawned on him that black female do this. I don't care what you say about black females. When I walk out there on the streets or whatever and this and that, I'm not worried about some random black female running up to me, putting a fucking gun to the back of my head and stealing from me. The only time why I ever been in an altercation with a black woman is because of a black woman that I know, that I'm dealing with. Me and her got into an argument. I never have any problems with random black women off the street. Hence, but I have been robbed and I have been a victim of crime. And most likely the perpetrators are men. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm worried about. Not too long ago at a gas station, somebody, it was an attempted robbery. You know what I'm saying? Somebody ran up on me, you know, and tried to rob me, so forth. And I still got to go to court for that. And then I was recently assaulted outside a club. Some dude started swinging on me outside of a bar with him. Some bald-headed white dude or some shit like that. And so forth. And the times where I walked out to my vehicle and seen my car stereo stolen, somebody broke in and stole all my CDs, I'm assuming a man did that. You know, it's hard for me to believe that some hair hat who looks like a female off Love and Hip Hop broke into my fucking car and took my CD player. I have a hard time believing it. Pretty sure it was a man, you know. So when I'm looking at, when I'm a victim of crime and the perpetrator is most likely a man, you know, especially if somebody I don't know who's just randomly committing crimes and so forth, yeah, I'm not going to look at the black female as this extremely vicious person and so forth. Also, men throughout history have a tenacity of violence, so I'm like, how the fuck did this country get created? Did it come because the pilgrims came over here and wanted to just offer Native Americans tea and trumpets or whatever? I'm like, no, they became their friend. It's violence. You know what I'm saying? Violence ruled our world and our society. But then when we look at the black community, oh, look how violent they are. I mean, it's hypocrisy. It just shows you how fucking stupid they are. And then people go into these clips that Tommy Sotomayor read. Oh, I've seen these clips and he's exposing the black community and what's wrong with the black community. First of all, there's this thing called rap music. It's called hip hop. And you know, you have these rappers, Wu-Tang Clan, 8-Ball, MSG, Brand Nubian, Scarface, the Ghetto Boys. You know, they talk about a lot of the ills that goes on with the black community. A lot of the shiesty stuff. Single parent household. Remember Tupac's song Brenda Had a Baby? Yeah, Brenda, you know, having sex with her cousin and dumping the baby off in the dumpster and so forth. And these rappers constantly talk about how women will stick you up, will get you set up to get killed. I'm like, especially with East Coast rap, you know, I'm like, there's almost a song on every album talking about a female will watch out for females, they can set you up to get robbed and so forth. As I said before, a lot of times when women do commit crimes or whatever, it's somebody they associate with that you get close to or whatever, get their number and so forth. They don't just randomly pick a victim and just break into their car. You know, so it's funny that I guess, you know what I'm saying, we have to ignore all the things that these rappers have done and say, oh, Tommy's the only one to do it, man. It's a fucking goddamn joke. You know what I'm saying? So, let's ignore 30 years of hip-hop history. Also, what Tommy does is propaganda. He doesn't get the clips himself. It's kind of like, there's a YouTube channel called Vice, you know, Vice TV. These guys will actually go out there in their truck, their vans, and whether it be in the United States or all over America, or all over the world, and get stories themselves, interview people, hit the ground. Like, for instance, that the Ku Klux Klan versus the Crips. Alright, so I even think Tommy did a story on this. Yeah, Vice City actually went out there to Tennessee or whatever and interviewed Klan members and interviewed members of the Clip. They actually make their own goddamn stories and upload them to YouTube. So I kind of respect that rather than somebody sitting back and just grabbing a bunch of clips from here and there. I can easily do that. You can do that on everything. I can create a whole bunch of propaganda about poachers, you know what I'm saying, or endangered species, or oil spills, or the conflict between the Palestinians and Israel. And there's just so, with the internet, there's just so much information I can put out there and so forth. But it's propaganda. You know, it's like Muslims. You know, somebody can look at Muslims, it's like, hey, Muslims are overall peaceful people until they're invoked. But there's people out there that'll just put together a whole bunch of propaganda to make Muslims seem like they're these anti-American, anti-capitalistic warmongers. that are willing to blow up things in a second for Allah, for their God Allah, to go to paradise and have 17 virgins or whatever the fuck. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? We have to look at, but I understand that with black, especially black people, they would rather be entertained than properly educated. And people would rather take their medicine and laugh than be bored. I mean, people would rather take their poison and laugh than be sad and take their medicine and so forth. But, you know, also the one called LA, we went into like reason why they look at us retarded because we don't talk about issues like the female microwaving her baby. First of all, I seriously doubt LA throws that retarded thing around a lot. I seriously doubt LA may even know the chromosome difference between someone who is considered legally retarded or a normal human being, or how many pairs of chromosomes the average human being has, or what is considered to be a normal human being has. But the thing is with the microwaving the baby, my thing is, if a female went to jail for microwaving her baby, you know what I'm saying? And like she did something bad and she's paying the price for it. You know what I'm saying? What else there's to talk about? Now he may say, look at this as a catalyst, as well, this is just a footnote of what's going on in the black community with these messed up black mothers and so forth. I'm like, yeah, but what about what the white females are doing? You know, I'm like, or what white people are doing in general. You know, I'm like, there's a story of this, you'll find all kind of stories of women killing their kids of all races, women are allowing their husbands or boyfriends to molest their kids, have sex with their kids, mutilating their kids, drowning their kids, and so forth. So, matter of fact, here in my state, a white woman just got, I want to say just maybe a year ago, got locked up because she left her kids in a burning car or whatever, or a hot car, and her kid died. You know, and she went to jail for that. So there's all kinds of news article, you know, as I said before, it's just propaganda. And the fact that most people say, well, Tommy, don't talk about white people because because he's black and you want to deal with black issues, let white people talk about whatever the fuck. But he's constantly comparing black females to white females. And now he's with a white female. Didn't Tommy himself say that you can't be, you know what I'm saying, a person that's dating outside their race or whatever, a black person can't talk about black issues, but he's doing, I know he's trying to renege on that because he's a renegger and so forth, but the fact that he's with a Caucasian or whatever, now it should be open season on white women too, in his eyes, you know, he's in that territory now. And Tommy is not a credible source for me. I'm like, look at his past. Yeah, I'm going to judge somebody by their past, you know, because the baby mothers he had and so forth. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on with his child? Why isn't he in his child's life or something? This guy want to put a video of Fireless America. I'm like, he's a con artist. It's no different than when the white boys go over to Africa and be like, oh, we're going to expose this. We're going to want you guys to give us some money so we can help expose this evil dictator or whatever. You know what? The white dudes get a whole bunch of money. They get a whole bunch of diamonds and they just take everybody else for suckers. It's cash for crisis. It's playing on people's heartstrings and so forth. And as far as the female with the baby in the microwave, you know, why don't we just figure out the manufacturer of that microwave and ask them to create baby-proof microwaves or some shit like that? I'm like, and then LA went into the problems in the so-called black community. First of all, looking at dudes of LA's elk, and I'm not trying to insult him, where he talks about he doesn't work and he's a pimp, you know, I don't know why he's trying to jump on all this stuff. Yeah, that's a problem with the so-called black community. But first of all, we have to define what exactly is the what the black community is. You know, I'm like, well, what are the borders of the black community? You know, so what are the perimeters of it? You know, where does the black community stop and the white community begin? You know, because a lot of these so-called black communities, like I'm going to start referring to it as the black commonwealth, you know, because there's no such thing as, one poster I read his comment, he said there's no such thing as a black community. There are white communities with black people living in it. And yeah, they hit that the nail on the head.